Social media CEOs on the hot seat on Capitol Hill today. Lawmakers taking aim at them and their companies over the dangers they pose to children.
Senator, our job and what we take seriously is making sure that we build industry-leading tools, find harmful
to
content,
make money,
take it off the services,
to make money,
and to build tools that empower parents.
So you didn't take any action. You didn't take any action. You didn't fire anybody. You haven't compensated a single victim. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. There's families of victims here today. Have you apologized to the victims? Would you like to do so now?
Well,
they're here. You're on national television. Would you like now to apologize to the victims who have been harmed by your product? Show them the pictures. Would you like to apologize for what you've done to these good people?
Meta's Mark Zuckerberg apologizing to families of victims at a Senate Judiciary Committee today on safety and social media. Zuckerberg was among the tech execs facing questioning from lawmakers over allegations of abuse on sites like Instagram, TikTok, and X. Joining us now, Jeff Horwitz, Wall Street Journal technology reporter. Jeff, it's good to have you on the show. Maybe just to start, Jeff, give me your take on what we saw on Capitol Hill today. What did you learn, Jeff?
I think we have, right now there is a push to get child safety legislation through. Obviously, the history of regulating social media companies out of Washington has been, shall we say, very limited, as the senators themselves observed. And look, there's certainly some dramatic moments, and I think there's no question that people on both sides of the aisle are very angry with the company. Unlike with sort of previous hearings, say about things involving politics, there was at least a little more of a consensus as to what the platforms would need to be doing better, namely investing more and being a little more thoughtful in their feature designs, and perhaps giving up some of the usage that they, that's kind of the lifeblood of the platforms in exchange for safety. That said, there's, I think, the specifics of some of the questioning. There's long been a question as to whether or not the current Congress, particularly given the age of most of its members, is well suited to this field of regulation, and I think that will still be outstanding.
Right. I mean, at the same time, they see the effects, right, that these problems are having. I was struck by the fact that Zuckerberg said that science has not shown a causal link between social media and mental health outcomes among young people. So even if they don't know exactly how to fix the problem, it seems as though they understand the scope of the problem, right? So, what are kind of the next steps here, I guess, if there are any?
Yeah, so Zuckerberg said that there was no causal link on the population level. And that is, I think, a number of caveats already embedded to the statement. And as the senators noted, the best understanding inside Meta by Meta's own researchers was, in fact, that there are known instances and foreseeable instances in which the platforms could be expected to cause harm under certain circumstances. That doesn't mean it's net negative for the world or that it's responsible for teen suicides, just that there are, it's the company's own work at this point is pretty damning on a few fronts. And that stuff has been brought into the public and obviously by both attorneys general and the press. Now, what's next, I think, is the question of whether any of this stuff results in bills that get to the floor of the Senate. As the committee members themselves have noted, the legislation's come out of committee before in unanimous fashion. It just hasn't ever received a vote. And that's something that the Senate leadership obviously has some control about, and likewise in the House. So I don't know that there's certainty as to sort of where this goes, but if there is going to be a place where Congress does decide to pass legislation regulating social media, this would be it. This is, the closest thing to consensus among both parties, I think.
How much, Jeff, does this also come back to Section 230, which means these companies they're not liable for the content on their platforms? I mean, if that changed, that would impact the calculus, right?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of desire from members of the committee to see basically these companies getting sued. That obviously would affect behavior in ways that are good and potentially harmful, and also, restricting of the internet at large. I think there's a lot of concerns about sort of pushing this stuff down to the state AG level to determine what's harmful. That said, look, Section 230 was sort of written with the idea of a prodigy bulletin board in mind. Like, that's the era of technology we're dealing with. It certainly, the people who put that together did not predict we'd be dealing with, as in the case of our reporting with Meta, recommendation systems that reliably curate child sexualization content for people who wish to consume it at a huge volume, right? This is just are we allowed to recommend this stuff without any liability is kind of a different question than is a platform responsible for user-generated content, even if they're still related questions.
Jeff Horwitz, we know that you've been following this stuff consistently and closely, and we really appreciate your time helping walk us through it.
Thanks.